Hello and welcome back to another Serie A video where this time I'm reviewing Matchday 29 games and here are all the results. The first match was between Salernitana and Inter. That game ended up 1-1 and Candreva the goalscorer for Salernitana late and that decided the game to be 1-1. Brilliant long range strike by Candreva and just important point for Salernitana as they're trying to stay away from the relegation sides in their fourth straight game that they haven't won in Serie A. So 4-game winless streak not that great, and next up they will be in Champions League action. Let's see how that goes. Then Napoli, they won Lecce 2-1. And at one point it looked like Lecce would win this, but thanks to Antonino Gallo's own goal, unfortunate one for Lecce, Napoli won the game 3. They got 3 points. And I think Napoli probably are going to win the league. The lead just, it didn't get bigger because Lazio won Juventus, but they still have 16-point lead compared to Lazio. So Napoli, they continue strong, even though it wasn't the most convincing win, but a good one without Osimhen. Then Milan, Empoli, 0-0 game there. I kind of expected this after Milan won 4-0 Napoli. They just weren't efficient in this match enough. They had chances but couldn't capitalize. And Giroud had goal disallowed because of the handball. But 0-0 game there. And Milan, they dropped to 4th because Roma jump up to 3rd place. And two Milan teams having rougher times in matchday 29. Then Monza and Udinese, they get 1 point each, and that's thanks to Beto's late goal, 2 minutes of added time in second half, and he scored from penalty. The Portuguese striker, his 10th goal of the season, and Udinese Monza, I would think probably both teams will take this point, especially Udinese considering they were down 2-1 late in the match. Fiorentina and Spezia faced each other. That ended up being 1-1 game. And Spezia, they get 1 point thanks to Enzola. Enzola's Angola striker scored to make the game 1-1. 13th goal of the season for him in Serie A and tied 3rd place in goal scoring charts. And he's carrying them really. Scored more than half of his team's goals now, and 1-1 game there. Fiorentina, maybe a bit of a surprise that they didn't get 3 points considering they had their winning streak going, and now it snapped, but they still haven't lost since Juventus lost in mid-February, so they are still doing relatively great, and this is an important point for Spezia considering the 2-3 win, Cremonese away from home. They came back in that match. It was 2-1 for Sampdoria. But then Cremonese, Locosvili and Ser Nicola scored at 5th minute of added time to make the game 2-3 for Cremonese, important 3 points. I'm still not sure about their surviving chances, but they get 3 important points and they jump past Sampdoria, so Sampdoria is now last team in the league. Atalanta-Bologna, that ended up being 2-0 game there, and Sansone, Orsolini were the goal scorers. Atalanta, I thought this was a bit of a surprise that they lost, but overall Bologna played a great game, and Atalanta, they just weren't efficient like many top 6 sides in this match day. And Roma, they could have been more efficient, speaking of top 6 sides, but against Torino away from home, the only goal scorer was Paulo Dybala early in the match, 8th minute, and that penalty decided the match. Torino, their season is probably not over, but I'm not sure about them getting into European places, so they probably will stay as a mid-table team, whereas Roma, they jump up to 3rd, so they are doing relatively great, and let's see if they could stay there in top 4 at the end of the season. Hellas Verona beat Sassuolo 2-1, and that was a late win, 5th minute of added time strike there. And Hellas Verona, they will definitely take 3 points against Sassuolo, who had their unbeaten streak snapped. And Hellas Verona, they are still, there are some points between them and Spezia, but this win definitely helps them. And then the last match was between Lazio and Juventus, probably the best match out of these, or at least featured the best teams relatively at least. Lazio and Juventus 2-1, Milinkovic-Savic and Chakani, who got an assist to that Milinkovic-Savic goal. And Chakani was the man of the match for me. Thanks to Chakani, they win. And that Rabiot's goal didn't really help Juventus that much because, they lost and they would have won the 3 points. Their top 4 hopes take serious hit. Lazio stays second. What are your thoughts about this match day, 29 matches of Serie A? And how did your team do if you're a fan of any of these teams? And hit the like and subscribe for more Serie A and football content, and have a nice day.